Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Joe, aka Joe the Wellness Curator, and this is the Obsidian Mindset Podcast, where we are redefining what wellness means to you. This is BTG 007, behind the gem, where I just end up talking about, we just have a little libation, first and foremost, and we're talking about things that either came from the last episode or what went through my mind afterwards, before, yada, yada, yada. So what went through my mind is I need to do more check-ins. So this is an invitation both for me and for y'all to start doing more check-ins on your wellness, and not just when it comes to physical and mental, because I really feel like sometimes those are, I don't want to say easier, but they're a little bit, I feel like they're in your face. But occupational wellness is something that, at least for me, especially with the culture that we're in, the capitalistic culture that we're in, as I was mentioning, the grinding and hustling culture that we're in, it is so easy not even to think about that, right? Not even think about the wellness piece of it, or your wellness in relation to it. It's more of, I need to get this done. I need to grind this out. I need to be successful so I can do the next thing, or so that I can end up relaxing, or so I can get to my next deadline. And I think this last week, it made me realize after doing the episode that I don't do that as much. Like, I think I do it in my day job, but when it comes to doing this and some of the other responsibilities that I have, I treat it like it's I treat it like it's I don't treat it like it's a job. I treat it like it's a hobby, or I treat it like it's something fun, right? And it may be fun and it may be a hobby, but it's still work. It's still something that I have to do, and I deserve a break, or I deserve to acknowledge when I need wellness, or I need to take a break, or when I need to shift some things to make sure that I'm okay as well in that space. Although I do know that everything is intentional and aligned with my vision and my purpose. So this last weekend, I did do that. I was able to take some time off. I was able to go to the DMV area, DC, with my friends, to look up some, I was looking up some apartments and visiting friends. And it really was really good to take a step back and to not think about the work and the occupation and the vocation, but to actually be present and to enjoy some of the other things that some of the other things, one, I take for advantage, or I take for granted rather, and two, to really focus on some of the other wellness pieces, such as social wellness, right? And just speaking to people. It's been a whole pandemic, and honestly, I feel like for me as an introvert, this has been a time to really get things done, right? There's a lot of things that I'm doing in my life, and I think the pandemic, and not to make light of the situation, but for me, it was like a heads down, let's grind it out type of period. And I'm now realizing after a year plus, that it takes a toll on you. And it's kind of, and this is where checking in is important, right? Because I don't notice. I think there are a cohort of people, I know friends and family and people that are in my circles are similar minded, where it's just like you see the eye on the prize and you're focused on it. You're just going to go do it. But sometimes you really have to step out of that circle, step out of that situation to realize I need to relax, or I need to chill, or I need to take this time and be with family and friends. I know I mentioned that in the last episode, but it wasn't until I said it out loud and kind of reflected on it that it was just like, okay, we need to start shifting some things. And, I can get back to this. I can get back to doing all this other things. And I love it. I have a passion for it. But I do need to make sure I'm focused on my wellness too. And that means all dimensions of my wellness. I think I said it in the last episode, but for some reason, it's easy to separate or isolate occupation and wellness. It's easy to separate the job piece of it because we are expected to do that, to live and to work, and then treat everything else, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, kind of treat it outside of that, because that's like our stuff, right? Like that's stuff that we take care of on our own time, if you want to say in a certain way. But what happens when you put it all together, right? Because it is all of you. It's all your wellness in 24 hours. There's no, your body can't separate, your mind doesn't separate the two. It just treats everything like an input or as a trigger or as a reward. So when you take the totality of everything, including occupational wellness, where does that lead you? Um, so yeah, I would like, so this is an invitation for everyone to start using the tools and start using the time to check in and not treat work and not treat occupation as a separate of wellness. So you're doing your own thing and then you have your job, but treating it as a piece of your wellness. That's one of the dimensions. It has a toll on you, similar to we were talking about finances take a toll on you, good, bad, or indifferent. Your job and your status also has that toll. So why not make sure that we're also, it's aligning with ourselves. It's also taking care of ourselves and how we show up in our job and how we're balancing or creating that harmony is also reflective in our job, in our occupation, in our hobbies, in our vocation, in our businesses, right? All right. Honestly, that was it. That was the only thing I thought about. It was a little reflective. I wanted to share with you guys. Um, yeah, just take your time, do a little check in, go through all the wellness dimensions, see how you're doing. Just treat it as information. Don't be judgmental. That's always a key. Do not be judgmental about how you're feeling or where you're at or where your level is. Just treat it like information and figure out what you're going to do next with it. Whether it means you're shifting some things, whether it means you're asking for help, whether it means you're getting accountability, whether it means you're just being more intentional and putting things down on calendar or creating a goal. Let's create some goals. Let's be more intentional. Let's create those boundaries. Let's focus on our wellness. All right, y'all. That is it. Thank you again for listening. You know where to find me. You can hit me up on my IG, Obsidian Mindset, or Joe the Wellness Curator. You can hit me up in my email, joe@definedbyobsidian.com. And like I always say, thank you for picking you today. Later, y'all.